Hey guys, this is Smithy. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is a very special one. We're going to play with the newest Adept Cosmetics Flying Fiddles palette. Look at the packaging. It's so elegant. It's so romantic. So very apt for the release in February. I really love this. And look at the color story inside. Are you ready for it? It also comes with a mirror, and it is a magnetic pan palette. And look at the color story. If you are a neutral wearer, it is amazing. You have your mauvey tones, you have your brown tones, you have some teals and greens sprinkled in it, but in a very neutral way. I know a lot of people consider greens as neutrals, so I feel like this palette is absolutely amazing. I definitely wanted this palette just because I know that the neutral shimmers is what I wait and long for in my everyday life, especially when I'm going for office, for any special occasions. I don't go for a dramatic blue, green. My neutrals is basically the neutral tones, burgundy tones, mauvey tones, and purples. That's what I consider as neutral. And in future, I might do a build your own palette with this palette and just switch some of the teals with some purples because that is going to be my neutral palette. But let's dive right in. We're going to create 2 looks using this palette today. Maybe 3, not sure. And then I'll play with this even more in future. But let's begin playing with this palette, and we'll also do some live swatches. So let's begin. Let's start off with swatching the palette first, just so that we get a hang of it, like what to expect out of these shades. Let's start off with Dahlia. And Dahlia seems like a very pink to a green shifting shade. Definitely feels like a multi-chrome to me. So let's swatch that. I took a very light bit on my hand. Did not dig into it at all. And because it's like a smoother multi-chrome, you can see right there how many shifts are coming through. And I just have a big window in front of me, but you definitely can see that shifts with that green, pink, gold. Really pretty. Let's move on. The next shade is Tan Toffee Rose, and this is like a mauvey shade. This is a my neutral kind of shade for sure. Like in my everyday life, this is definitely going in my crease. Look at the beautiful swatch. If it's not a brown, it is this mauvey thing. I really love that shade. Beautiful. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. That's called Meadow Foam. And I can see coppery tones with a lot of pink sparkle to it too. So let's watch that. Oh, such a beautiful copper. Oh my God. This is glam for sure. I love these kind of coppery bronzy tones. Look at that. Really pretty. Wow. Okay. The next shade is called Arisema. And this seems like a greeny gold, like a very antique gold, but also with a ton of sparkle running throughout it. It looks smooth when I swatched it. It's like a very pale white gold with a green undertone to it. And you can see it there. Really pretty. Adept also has their neutral sparkly palette, which is called Minka palette, which I have in my collection. But I feel like Minka is very textured and it's very sparkly. If you are a sparkle wearer, you definitely need to try Minka. This is more smooth, toned down, but elegant and elevated shimmers. Let's move on to Daylily. And this is the burgundy tone. Again, a must-have staple in my collection for a neutral palette. I love to wear burgundy in my everyday life, and this is so pigmented, so dark, so deep, and this would definitely deepen out any look. Definitely is like a burgundy. I hope you can see it on the camera. In my viewfinder, it looks more like deeper brown, but it is definitely a burgundy. Okay, let's move on to the next shade, which is Daffodil. And this is more of that yellow-green golden shade. Again, all these shimmers, none of them that I swatched is chunky by any means. It's all smoother shimmers. So let me swatch that. Yeah, I'll definitely say a green gold shade. Very shimmery. There you go. Really pretty. The next shade is called Viola Bronze, and this is another bronzy shade in the palette, but I feel like this definitely has more copperiness to it as compared to that Meadow Foam shade that we swatched here. That was more bronzy, but let's swatch this. Yeah, definitely more coppery. Like for warm tone looks, that would be stunning. Look at that, so pretty. Really, really beautiful. I do have a code with Adept Cosmetics and it is Smithy Sony to save 10% off. Now let's move on to Scorpion Grass, and this is definitely that rainbow kind of like shade in the palette. Adept loves to do 1 or 2 shades in their palettes which are like that sprinkled rainbow effect. I'm gonna first just try and take it like a stripe and see what shade comes out of it. But being truthful, in an everyday life, if I'm in a rush, I will be like just doing that motion. See, I'm already like done with it. So let's just swipe everything out because I didn't get like anything deep out of that, and I feel like it's a subtle shimmer. It's a very subtle sea foamy green kind of a shade with like a blue undertone to it. Really pretty. And I'm thinking that this would differ within palettes just because of the way it is swirled in the pan. If you have a more of like a blueness in the pan, you will see a lot more blue in your swatch too. The next shade is called Pom Pom Button. This seems very shimmery in the pan. It is like a deepest aqua green kind of a shade. I'm assuming will be beautiful for like a green emerald eye, smoky eye. Yeah, really pretty. It has a quality of a blue in it too. Yeah, definitely. In a swatch, it looks more like satiny, but this would be like a great base shade for any smoky eye. And if you tap it with any of these shimmery, toppery shades, it'll just take it to another level. That's such a beautiful emerald green. Really love that. Okay, the next shade, I feel like if paired up with this Pom Pom Button shade, it'll be just amazing. And this one is called Yellow Bronwyn. And this is like a very light goldeny shade, like a pale gold shade. Let's see how different it is from the other shades. By the way, I bought this palette with my own money. It was not sent to me in PR. Just want to be very transparent. I've never gotten a PR from Adept Cosmetics, but I am an affiliate with the brand too. This is definitely like a very toppery shade. It has like a very transparent base. As you can see, it just vanishes away, but it has a lot of shimmer and sparkle attached to it. It shifts to like a pink to a green. I hope you can see that. Really pretty shade. Again, I feel like it will transform if I top it on top of that greeny shade. It'll be amazing. Okay, let's move on to Sahara again. Another staple matte in the collection. I feel like these 3 mattes that we have swatched so far is like a staple in like a neutral palette for sure for me. And this is like a mid-tone brownie shade called Sahara right there. Really, really pretty. Obviously, if you top this deeper burgundy shade on top of that, it will just take it to another level and give it all the depth that you're longing for. I felt like the mattes that were chosen is amazing. And because of that emerald green shade, they attached like a tealy green shade also as a 4th matte in the palette. I won't be using it much. I would rather have a purple there, you know that. Okay, the next shade in the palette is called Honey Spurge, and this is like a champagne-y shimmery shade, perfect for an inner corner, perfect for like a glam look. If you want like a lightness on your eyelid, this is absolutely amazing, and this can definitely act like your highlighter too if you're just traveling with this palette alone. Look at that. Really, really pretty. It's just perfect for that inner corner pop or like that halo pop. It'll be amazing. Okay, let's move on to the next shade. The next shade is called Blue Crown, and this seems like a blue brown but in an Adept style. So I see a lot of purple and blue. It's not like purple, it's more like a burgundy blue. So let's watch that. I have high hopes for this shade. Let's watch it and see. I definitely see burgundy and blue. And in a swatch, I see predominantly as a base shade to be a burgundy purple, but I also see a lot of blue specks running throughout. You can see it. How beautiful is that? Again, a beautiful shade for a smoky eye. I really, really would love it. Even that can be a beautiful shade, like as a one and done eye look, like with that all over the crease, this all over the eyelid, and this in the inner corner. That's a look by itself. Really pretty. The next shade in the palette is called a Rust Bunny, and I see green, I see bronziness, like a coppery bronze shade. Let's watch it. Definitely a duochrome, if not a multichrome. Yeah, I definitely see green. I think it's a multichrome. It's like I can see blue, green, golden, pink. Really pretty. Again, this shade on top of like, oh wow, you see a lot of predominantly that pink shade. I don't see in front of my naked eye, but you see it. Like when the light catches it, it's so beautiful. Yeah, such a stunning shade. Love it. So pretty. What are we gonna do today? Let's move on to the last matte shade of the palette, and this is called Green Kelly. And this is definitely that like a tealy green blue shade. Let's swatch that. There you go. How beautiful is that shade? Again, a mid-tone to a deep tealy shade. And that is the entire palette swatched for you guys. Really pretty, a beautiful everyday neutral palette, but in an Adept style. But now I'm dying to play with this palette, so let's create two looks. I want to do so much with that these shades. I have no idea what to do. Let's start off with the Sahara shade, and Sahara is that brown shade in the palette. I'm gonna start off with that shade in the crease, and I know it's like a mid-tone to a deeper shade, but we can definitely blend it out to be like our transitioning shade. So I'm just gonna concentrate that on my crease area. Look how beautifully it blended across. Really pretty. I want to use all the shades in the palette for sure. Before we deepen out our outer corners, I'm going to take this shade Pum Pum Button shade. And I want that all across my eyelid as a base. I know, green and me. But I want that as my base, just to see the versatility that I can do. And obviously, this all over the eyelid, that burgundy in the inner and the outer corners, you're done for that look for a beautiful green emerald smoky eye. I just want to do something else too. That's amazing. Look at that shade of green. It's so pretty. I'm going to take that same brush with nothing on it, just blending the edges. And then taking that Kelly green shade, the tealy shade, and going over the outer corners with that shade and just blending that green right there, just so that it smoothly flows into the eye look, just like that. Going back into that brown brush, not brown brush, the brush that we use brown with, and right there. Now I want to take that yellow Bronwyn shade. I'm going to take it on my ring finger, and I'm just going to pop that right there in the center. And you can see how it transformed on top of that green. Because in the pan, look at that shade. And look at it on my eyes. It's so pretty. Yeah. That's exactly what I thought that's gonna do on the eyes. Stunning. Okay, I'm gonna take this shade Sahara again and just put it on my lower lash line. I'm gonna take this Honey Splurge shade and I'm gonna take that in my inner corner. Oh my god, that's such a beautiful highlighty shade. That's stunning. Super sparkly too. Love it. Love it. Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of this Scorpion Grass shade and I'm gonna take that on my lower lash line, just right here. Not that you can see it, I just want to see how shimmery it is, and it is a subtle shimmer. So you can definitely apply that as like a subtle shimmer all across the eyelid. Before we go, I'm going to take that green Kelly shade with a smaller blending brush and just deepening out my outer corners and my inner corners just a tad bit. And also taking that Daylily shade, that burgundy shade, right on top of that just to see how it will blend with each other. Yeah, if you mix that the tealy shade and the burgundy shade, it transforms to like a blue shade. And that will definitely deepen up the eye, as you can see. Yeah, I just wanted to see that. So definitely deeper, skin tone friendly too. Let me finish off this eye with some liner and mascara and I'll get right back. And that's my first eye look. I love how deep and smoky and colorful you can go with this palette too. I definitely wanted to get more like that greeny vibes out of that palette. Now let's move on to the next eye, which I'm going to play with like those mauvey, pinky, romantic tones. So let's begin. Let's start off with the Tan Toffee Rose shade, which is that a mauvey shade of the palette. And my kind of favorite transitioning crease shade. Look how beautiful that shade is. Really pretty. Love that mauviness to it. Adept has definitely worked on their shimmers. I love the quality. So far, nothing has performed like a dud. I'm going to take that same shade on my lower lash line too. Now taking that Daylily shade, which is that burgundy shade of the palette. Tapping off the excess. Focusing that right in the outer corners. And you can see how deep that is. Love to see a deep burgundy shade. I'm going to tap it first. Just make the pigment all in place and then start blending the edges. I'm also going to take a little bit on the lower lash line too. Just to tie in everything together. Just right there. Going back into that crease brush with nothing additional and just blending out the edges. So pretty. I love it. I love it. Okay. What are we gonna do? There's so much to do. So much to do. I'm gonna start off with that Meadow Foam shade because I cannot help myself, you guys. And I don't know if you can see how sparkly it is, but it is super sparkly. And such a beautiful bronzy shade. I'm going to focus that on the center of my eyelid. But that all over the eyelid would be stunning too. What should we do for the inner corner of the eye look is my question. Should we play with this Rust Bunny shade or should we play with this Dahlia shade? Oh my god. I want to play with this Dahlia shade. I know, I'm sorry. Let's play with this Dahlia shade first. And I'm going to place that right there in the beginning of the lid. Look at that. How stunning it is. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. Oh, it shifts like crazy. Love it. Love it. Cannot even help myself. I'm going to take that Rust Bunny shade. And I'm just going to take that right there at the edge. Meeting with that burgundy shade. That's definitely more fiery. Ooh, so pretty. For the inner corner of the eye, I'm going to take this shade, which is Arasima. Let's see what is that all about. I'm going to take that right there. Definitely has that green tinge to it. So I'm going to take that Honey Spurge shade right on top. Just to give it a little bit more brightness. Yeah, that is the inner corner shade of the palette. Okay, I'm going to finish off this eye with some liner and mascara and I'll get right back for the final thoughts. And that's my second eye look. I really love how this eye look also turned out. I love the pinky vibes, the mauvey vibes on this eye. I really feel that this palette is super versatile for a deeper eye look as well as a neutral eye look. For an everyday look or for a night out, I feel like you can do a lot out of this palette. Even if I would have paired those tones with just that champagne shade, it would have been light, airy, everyday, like office look. It would be amazing. Although both of these eye look, I will rock in an office. I really love this palette. Let's see how many shades we skipped. We only did not use the 3 shades, that is this daffodil shade, violet bronze shade, and the blue crown shade. I really love this palette. Based on the 12 shades that we used out of the 15 shades, I can totally say that this palette is gonna be such a staple in my collection, especially for everyday. This is gonna be stunning, absolutely stunning. And the best part about this palettes are that these are magnetic. Let me show you. So let's say if you want to mix and match your palettes and you don't want a few shades, I'm just gonna show you how you can absolutely easily take these shades off. And the best part is the name is written behind that shade too, so you don't even have to worry about like writing the shades or not remembering where that shade was from that palette too. I'm just going to take 2-3 shades off and I'll show you how easy it is to just mix and match your palettes and just give an entirely different eye look. I took like 3 shades out of this palette. I'm going to plop that purple right in there because you know how much I love my purples. So it's going to be right there. I'm going to take another purpley shimmer shade to go along with it. Let's put another inner corner shade or like a glam shade, and that would totally change up the palette. I took like 3 shades from the Minka palette if you are curious about it. Let me tell you the shade names. The deeper purple shade is Maria. Then I took Selena as this multi-chrome shade. And this shade is called Maya, all from the Minka palette. And look how beautiful that palette came out to be. I really love the customization that you can do with these like magnetic palettes. I give it a 2 thumbs up with this palette. I absolutely loved playing with this Flying Fiddles palette. And I also loved how both of these eye looks turned out. I'll pop a picture on the screen if I did like a third look. Okay, just kidding. Let's start off with the third eye look. I just realized that I have to go, then why not just film with this palette right away because my kids were sleeping. I'm going to take this shade, Daylily, start with that shade all across the eyelid and then start blending with another matte all across the crease. I want this as a deeper base to the eye look. So let's do that. Look how beautiful. I love that shade. And obviously I'm going with like a big fluffy brush. So that also will cause a difference in the application. If you are going with like a packing brush, you'll get more of the effect. I'm going with a big fluffy brush, but again, you can see how it like build up really well. Again, Daylily all across the eyelid. And then once we have that all packed up, just gonna wipe off this brush and then I'm just gonna dip into this Sahara shade just a tad bit, the brown shade, and then start blending the edges, and that would give that brown and burgundy effect together. Now I'm just gonna take a cleaner blending brush. Do I have a clean blending brush? That's my question. And I'm then just gonna go over the edges and just blend everything out just so that there's no harsh lines. And I'm gonna go over the burgundy shade, Daylily, on my lower lash line too. So let's do that. I'm going into that Sahara shade, which is that brown in the palette, and just going over the edges and just blowing it out just like that. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of NYX glitter glue. Now I'm going to take this shade, which is Blue Crown, this one, and take that all across the eyelid. "2016 coming back." Oh, I love that. I love a good blue-brown pigment, seriously. But this, rather than a blue-brown, it's a blue burgundy. As you saw it in the swatches. Look at that. How pretty is that? Now for the inner corner, this is the only shade that we've not used as yet, this one. So let's take that. No, actually we've not used the violet shade too, this one. Okay, let's take this shade right in the center. Just for a subtle pop. You absolutely do not need to. But this is just for something. Okay. Just melting it with that blue. Let's go to that violet bronze shade. I'm going to take that in the inner corner. That's a beautiful coppery shade. Oof, I love that. Okay, let's finish off this eye with some liner and mascara. And that's my third and the final look. Now I used officially all the shades in the palette, and I really love everything that I used in this palette. Now let's move on to the outro. But I definitely wanted to test out all the shades for you guys so that you can see it in action, how these shades perform on me. This palette is available on the Adept Cosmetics website, and you can use the code SMITHYSONY to save 10% off. But that's all for today, guys. If you did like this video, you know what to do. Do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so that you're notified every time that I post next. I generally upload 3 videos every single week, every Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays at 9 AM Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.